creating our hole. Again, I've got the layout here of what this is eventually going to look like. This episode is going to deal with just drawing the basic point to point to point structure. It should be a pretty short video, but I do want to explain some things as we go through here. So this is a good starting point. Your hole, obviously, is where we're going to want the T-box. You always want your middle point to be a little longer than 265. If you haven't played the golf club very long, you may not know, but everyone should at this point. The driver is going to hit 265 yards. So I like setting your first point always somewhere in between the 265 to about 300 range. For a reason I'll explain here in a second, but we're going to go ahead and hit the point, and then we'll finish where we want our green to end up. Stick it here for now, and I'll move it if I need to, but that's going to be our course. As we talked about in the last video, I had changed my rough width, but nothing has generated here. All I'm doing here is just kind of giving a line for where I want the course to go. So I'm gonna back out. All that's changed now is it's given me a green, very small one that I'll be doing later, and the initial tee box, which we'll leave untouched for a while. I mentioned that I always like to leave the middle point no matter what, somewhere around this, around where the driver will initially land, and that's for a couple reasons. This middle point is actually pretty important. It's gonna change where your tee box is oriented. If I pick that up and I move it over here to the left, or I move it over here to the right, it's actually going to change the tee box to face where that middle point is. So whenever it's all said and done, you do want to eventually point that where you want the golfer to really look. Whether you're trying to trick them, which I wouldn't do that, or you just want to present the best possible view of the fairway and what they're kind of looking at. That middle point is extremely important. That's where they're gonna be looking. Finally, you want to place it past where they're going to drive, because this middle point actually influences the club suggestion for the driver off the tee. So if I actually were to pick this up and move it back here to 245 yards, it would actually start off with that recommendation for the golfer as a 3-wood instead of a 5-wood, which is kind of annoying, because when you get through and you actually go through and play, a lot of these people on the tours, they're going so quickly that they don't realize that you've actually started them off with a smaller club. You can say, yeah, it's their fault, they're not looking, but I mean, at this point, come on, just start them off with a driver, let them make the decision on whether or not they want to club down or not. So put this middle point somewhere in the middle of the fairway there. I think that actually might be it for this video. Yeah, that's all. So short video. They should all be getting shorter from here on out, as they're all going to be dealing with very specific parts of the course creation. So we have what we want. Even though I haven't followed around and done this will all happen later. We have the basic framework for what we want to do here, so I'm pretty happy with this. So until the next video.